Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are returning, then welcome back. If you are new, then welcome. And if you are just here for informational purposes or Googling purposes, then welcome anyway. I'm Ella, if you don't know. I'm sure you do because my name is written down below. But anyways, I'm Ella. Today I'm going to talk about my story and my experience with PCOS. This was a video that I wasn't really sure whether I was going to film it or not, but then I thought, yes, I am going to film it because this is the kind of thing I watch and I look for when I'm looking for more information. And I like to watch other people's stories to see what they go through, because this kind of thing is so varied and everyone goes through different things and has different symptoms and stuff like that. So I thought I would share my story. So yeah, I'm not anyone special. I don't know anything more about it than anyone else does. But I thought I would share my experiences and how I found out. Just keeping an eye on my phone because I'm currently waiting on a call from my doctor. So I've got my gallon of tea, almost the size of my head if I hold it in the right place. Look, tea the size of my head. And I've got some notes that I've written down because this started many years ago. So I've tried to remember as best I can. But if I miss some stuff out, then I do. Or if I remember it along the way, then I do. That's fine. That's really hot. I was going to take a sip. It's too hot. So, let's get my notes out. Okay, so let's start with what we're at. Okay, so I'm going to talk about PCOS today. I put a few polls on Instagram and on Twitter as well. And some people don't know what it is, some people wanted a video just because, and some people wanted a video because they have PCOS. Now, PCOS stands for Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, and it affects, I think it's between 5 and 10% of women in the UK, so it is so common. I think only around half of the women are actually diagnosed with it. A lot of people live with it and don't know that they have it. But yeah, so Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. I've written some notes so that I can explain stuff, so excuse me for looking at notes. So basically, in short, it affects how your ovaries work, pretty much. And this gets explained differently to everyone, but the way I got it explained to me is that you have little follicles on your ovaries that could develop into cysts. Yeah, that's how I got it explained to me. Some people get it described as fluidy sacs, but they basically stop your eggs from being released, so it stops you ovulating. Because of that, it can cause infertility, which is one of the scariest things to find out when you've got it. For someone who knows, like, I know that I want children and I've always wanted children, it's the kind of thing that scares the hell out of you. But you can't know until you try for children. And right now I'm not in a position to try for children, so who knows if I am fertile or not. Because I don't. But you just have to go with it. Okay, so most common symptoms, I'm not going to go through all of the symptoms because we'll be here all week, but I'll go through a few of the most common ones and then I'll go through the ones that I have. So the main symptom of Polycystic Ovary Syndrome is irregular periods. This is, I think, the quickest way to kind of figure out, or one of the, obviously the main symptoms to find out that you've got PCOS. Another one is being overweight, which is quite a common one, and when I tell people that I've got PCOS, they kind of go, well, you're not overweight. But it's one of the symptoms that I don't have, and I still have PCOS. even though I'm not overweight. Not everyone has the same symptoms. But yeah, so that's one that I don't have, but it is one of the most common ones. And also excess hair growth is one of the biggest ones. It's all to do with insulin in your body and insulin with the male hormones and... Let me read my notes. Okay, so basically PCOS makes it more difficult for the body to use insulin, which normally helps convert sugars and starches from food into energy. This causes glucose to build up in the bloodstream, so high insulin levels increase the production of the male hormones, which is why you carry more weight. And people who are overweight with PCOS tend to carry it more around their stomach because that is where men hold their weight. So it's all very smart stuff. So now I'll go through my story. So it started when I started my period. So I was 14. I have, if you want to know about my first period, then I have done a video on that, which I will link down below. But it started when I was 14. I came on my period and it didn't stop. Is basically what happened. I had kind of a bad experience with all of my lady parts so far in life. So I started my period at 14 and it didn't stop, which obviously we then knew something was wrong, and basically I didn't have enough of the hormone in my body to stop the period. So it started it but couldn't stop it. So I was very poorly and ended up being off school for quite a long time because my period was so heavy. I lost so much blood. I was just like, I couldn't stand up. I was just a mess basically. So that's when I first knew obviously something was wrong with my hormones, and my doctors knew something was wrong with my hormones. So to fix that, the quickest fix was to put me on the pill to regulate my periods. So literally not long after I started, I think I was on my period for about a month, which is really quite horrific, isn't it, when I think back at it now. So they decided to put me on the pill. So since I was 14, I was on the pill purely for period purposes, to regulate my periods. But it didn't stop pains. Now, I'm not entirely convinced whether the pains were due to my period or whether they were due to PCOS. At this point, I didn't know that I had PCOS, but I went through stages where I was in incredible amounts of pain, and it is a lot like period pains, but it was awful, and I tried everything. I had heat packs, I had, all the pills under the sun to try and ease my pain. I remember one day I must have been off school or off work or something, and I was at home and my dad was at home, and I was sat in the lounge and he was sat in the dining room, and I was in so much pain, I was crying, but the pain was so intense that I couldn't shout for my dad to come out. Don't know what he was going to do, but I needed someone to help me, but the pain was so intense that I actually couldn't speak. So that was really quite terrible. And I know a lot of other people go through the painful stuff too. So I don't know whether that was PCOS related or whether that was simply just my period pain. So after that, when I was about 16, I started getting urine infections. It's just one thing after another with me. And I was going through stages where I would just get urine infections constantly, and I was constantly at the doctor's trying to sort out what it was, try and figure out what it was, and they ended up sending me to have an ultrasound, just to check that everything was okay, and that was when I found out that I had PCOS. So I went in for my follow-up doctor's appointment, and my doctor said to me, look, you've got PCOS, it's nothing to worry about, we'll revisit it when you come to wanting children. And that was that. And when you're 16, you don't really think, oh yeah, kids, better think about that, like whatever, because you're 16. Like, not many people think about having children just yet when they're 16. But, so yeah, it just kind of got brushed off for a long while. But that was how I found out about it, and they said that PCOS wouldn't be causing my urine infections. So it was brushed off, and that was kind of the end of that. And then I was on the pill for over 6 years. So I started when I was 14, and I came off it last year. Probably about a year ago I came off it, because I got asked by my doctors. They said to me a couple of times, do you want to come off it and see what happens? But after the traumatic experience that I had when I started my period, obviously the answer was no. I was more than happy to keep taking the pill. I was getting my period every month and it was fine. That was just how it was. If I didn't want my period, if I was on holiday, I'd carry on taking my pill and I was sorted. Like, I knew where I was at. I was scared that if I came off the pill, my period wouldn't stop again and stuff like that. So I stayed on it for over 6 years, and last year I started struggling with like anxiety and early stages of depression, let's say, which are 2 other symptoms of PCOS, but they are also linked to the pill. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to come off the pill and just see what happens. If my period doesn't stop, then we'll deal with that when we come to it, but I need to try something. So I came off the pill. So I finished taking my last course and I got my period like I normally would. It stopped, and then I didn't have one for 6 months. So that was quite terrifying, because your brain goes, no period, you're pregnant. That's just a natural reaction. I, to be honest with you, had totally forgotten I had PCOS, because it's not something that you really think about until, I don't know, stuff like this happens, and then you think, okay, that's probably because of this. So yeah, I didn't have a period for 6 months, and I am now having one sort of every couple of months, give or take, which is a lot more than some people get. Some people get one every 2 years with PCOS. Everyone is totally different. But after the initial 6 months without it, they have become more regular. However, when I didn't have one for that long, I did get slightly concerned, and my body was just like, you girls will know, sometimes you need a period. You need to flush your body out, and I had spots. I was like, I needed a period. I was angry, I was cranky, and it was just no fun for Ryan. It was no fun for my family, because I was a bitch, let's be honest, for a while. So I went to the doctors and I was like, look, I can't, I need to do something. To which my doctor turned to me and said, my doctor had changed from when I was 16. So my new doctor said to me, oh, does anyone in your family have PCOS? And I said, well, me. I've got PCOS. And she was like, ah, okay, that makes sense. I was like, yeah, but what are we going to do about it? Because I'm kind of struggling here. And then we started talking about the stuff that revolves around PCOS and children and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you, I came away from that doctor's appointment, I saw my mum, and I burst into tears, because we sat there and my doctor told me that I was probably going to really struggle having children, and that I would need hormonal help or IVF or stuff like this, and we went through loads of stuff. And for someone who knows they want children that's the kind of thing that scares the hell out of you. And I came away from it and I was like, well, shit, like now, or like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, basically told me that I can't wait too long to start trying for children because it could take years. I can't leave it until I'm 30 to start trying because chances are it won't happen, and stuff like that. And then, but that kind of thing, it impacts your whole life because you then start worrying, or I did anyway, started worrying about, like, I can't afford a house, I can't have a child unless I've got a house, and all of this stuff goes through your head, and anxiety just went off on one, basically. Which is understandable when you get told what you get told, and that was probably one of the worst doctor's appointments ever. But I'm kind of coming to terms with it now. I'm trying to deal with it as best I can, I guess. One of my other biggest symptoms is random bloating, which drives me insane. And there is literally nothing I can do about it. I don't know. I can eat carbs all day long and I'll be bloated. I can not eat any carbs all day long to avoid bloating and I will still go to bed looking about 4 months pregnant. There is literally nothing I can do. And it's so annoying because you're constantly worried, like, people are gonna think I'm pregnant, like, but I just bloat all the time and it sucks because I try and figure out what I'm eating that makes me bloat, but I've now discovered that it's actually not what I'm eating, it's PCOS that's doing this to me. Yay. What else? Another thing I've noticed since coming off the pill is oily skin and breakouts. I'm sure if you follow me on Twitter that you see me tweeting about spots and oily skin and rubbish all of the time because I went through my whole teenage years and I never had spots, I never had problems with my skin at all, and I've now discovered that that was because I was on the pill the whole time. Which sometimes causes spots and stuff for people, but for me it stopped it completely. So I came off the pill, I'm now struggling. You can probably see I've got oily skin, I get spots all the time, especially when I'm on my period, all like round here, the T-zone, and like all around my chin, and I even got one on my nose the other day. If you watched my other video, I was fuming about that one. But yeah, that's something I don't know how to control. I've tried different skincare products, but it just is what it is. Another one, I've just written down all the ones that I suffer with basically. Tiredness and fatigue is one that I struggle with. I also have low iron levels, which does not help. The other one is panic attacks and anxiety. They are known symptoms of PCOS, but I have started, when did I start having panic attacks? It was probably before I came off the pill, but I have had a couple, I've had more since I came off the pill than before I came off the pill. And they are not nice at all. They're not something that you'd wish on your worst enemy because they suck. And they stop you from doing things that you wish you could do and you can't, such as I had one before. I had to go to London for work, which I do almost weekly, but I woke up one morning and had a panic attack about it, and you can't breathe, and I ended up working from home that day because I just couldn't leave the house basically. So that sucks a lot, and yeah, and anxiety as well. But I think those are the main ones that I suffer with. Time for some tea to give my voice a rest. So where am I at now? Now I don't really know where I'm at. So I've been off the pill for a year. I'm waiting on a call from my doctor because I am looking to get referred to go and see a gynaecologist, because I would like to know more than I do, and I need someone to advise me on what to do, because obviously I don't know when my periods are coming, my skin is driving me insane, and all of these other bloating and all of these other symptoms that I'm only now realising that I have since coming off the pill, because the pill has masked them like this whole time, the last 6 years. I'm only now realising what symptoms I have of PCOS. So I'm trying to deal with them myself, and I need advice from someone as to whether I go back on the pill, or is that going to mess up my periods, which I've taken the last year to try and regulate somehow, which we're getting there. But obviously, is that going to slow things down when I come to wanting children in however many years' time? So I'm hoping that my doctor will be happy to refer me, because as great as GPs are, they don't know everything about everything, so they're not going to know the ins and outs of PCOS, whereas a gynaecologist, that's what they're there for. And I get really good private healthcare through my work, so I've used them before and I would like to use them again, and I would like to go and see a gynaecologist just to get some more information, and my mum wants to come with me because she wants more information. I watched a video from a girl called Wing It with Jade on YouTube the other day, and I watched, she had uploaded her story with PCOS, and it was absolutely brilliant, and I liked it. I don't know if you guys saw it on my Twitter, but I liked it, and even my dad watched it and was like, that is so good, like the way she came across was brilliant. So if you are here from Googling, then head over and watch her video as well. I'll link it down below so that you can see it. But that was really good, and I really liked that, and she's really open as well, so I've been chatting to her on Instagram since watching her video. So this one is because I watched hers and thought it was brilliant, so I thought I would do my own. So yeah, go and give that a watch. I'm not going to say to people with PCOS don't Google things, because that's exactly what you've done. That's how you're here, that is why you're here, and that is exactly what I do. That's where you get your information from. If you don't get it all from your GP or a gynaecologist, you Google it, and that's just what you do. But if you do think you have PCOS, then go and see your GP, and they'll be able to help you. Usually I think they diagnose it through an ultrasound scan, which is how I found out about mine. But obviously they will advise you and they will let you know if you have PCOS, and you can then go from there as to what you do after that. So yeah, if anyone wants to ask me any questions, then please feel free to comment them down below. If you want to do it privately, then you can message me on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. Just send me over any questions, or if you just want to chat about it, then I'm more than happy to do that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other video suggestions that you'd like me to do, if you want to know more about a specific topic on this, then give me a shout and I will film that for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to give it a like and a share, so that other people can watch it and hopefully benefit from it, or not benefit from it, but like feel better in themselves from watching this. So yeah. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye guys.